Here, it's going to be a good one today. We are going to get into something that most people, especially as you grow and grow and grow, this one element is the one element that keeps the great great, and then it also categorizes the good to be good. Those of you just jumping on, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. About 65% of you are not subscribers. Subscribe. Get the info that's connected to God's word to max out your income, your impact, and your purpose. That's why we are here. That's why you are here. And so today's challenge is exactly that. It is a challenge. And I want to share something quickly because I watched it last night in one of the football games. Commercial came on, and it was a great commercial. People running around, motivating, inspiring, all of those things. And you're watching it and you're like, yes, I love that. They're running and doing all sorts of things, and they're winning races, and you can sense it's this kind of Nike ad, so you're kind of waiting to hear what the end result is going to be. And it was simply this. They put in just bold block letters: winning is uncomfortable. And I sat on that and I started to think about that more and more and more and more. And I tell you what, every single person would be like, heck yeah, winning is uncomfortable. Winning is uncomfortable. But the truth of the matter is that most people aren't winning, because the opposite of that rings true as well. If you're comfortable, you're not winning. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's why I'm here, and that's why you're here. It's to challenge you. And I think the one thing that separates a good coach to a great coach is a challenge, because you're not where you should be. You're not where your potential is. And I sat with a client recently. We got on the phone. They're making more money than they've ever made. Their businesses are great. Everything on the outside to them is great. They would literally say, "Hey, I'm blessed. I've got a great life. I live in this community. I'm making, and they literally quoted me the number of how much more they were making than most people in that whole town. And I just kind of looked at it, and I heard them, and I heard it all, and I just had to stop them, and I said, you're not playing against them. You're playing against you. And you and I both know that you probably have 10x of what you're doing now, but you're afraid of what other people think about who you are and what you do, because you can't share that information with other people that make less than you or don't have that. They think that you're blessed. They think that everything is, rosy, and all that is good. Great. That's not You're not competing against them. You're competing against you. You see, success is not you compared to others. There's always somebody that does more. There's always somebody that has more. Success is you versus what God has created you to be, your potential and your purpose. And if you don't know your purpose, then you're missing out on everything that God has for you. And that's where I sit down with individuals. And that's step one: purpose. What has God created you to do? What lights you up? What angers you? What frustrates you? What's a problem that you can solve, that you're great at, right? How can you do that and help people? Usually people want to help people. So how can you do that, right? You start there, and then we start to open it up. And that's where challenge comes in. So when I heard that quote, or I watched it on TV, winning is uncomfortable. And gosh, I know, I mean, just people are just like, yeah, winning is uncomfortable. But you know what? The reality is that if you're comfortable, you're not winning. And that's the question you have to ask yourself. You and only you know that. And when I sit with clients, that's exactly what happens. Is they'll be telling me about all these great things, and maybe it's the wealth or the houses or those sorts of things, and I just stop them. I say, I don't care about that. This isn't that's not what God is going to be looking at for you. He's put something inside of you exclusively for you. And if you don't fulfill that, let me go into Matthew chapter 25. And this is where a lot of our my time goes with clients and prospects. And this is why challenge is so important, because Matthew 25, those of you that are new, you haven't seen or watched any of these things before, look, my calling is to prepare you for the end in mind. And what is that end in mind? The end in mind is Matthew chapter 25. And all of us as Christians, we think we're going to hear this. Well done, my good and faithful servant. The reality is there's probably 99% of you that aren't going to hear that. And that's a sobering statement. You say, what do you mean? I'm not going to hear that. Well, let me tell you why you're not going to hear that. Because you have things and unfinished business in your life that you're neglecting. You think you have it all. You think you're good, or you're blessed, or that's not what God has not given you, that to just sit back and be comfortable, right? Because what I just say, winning is uncomfortable. Going to the next level is uncomfortable. And you need somebody in your life to call you out on that. Last week we talked about accountability. And that's the glue that puts everything together. This week we're talking about challenge. Because most of you in those positions, high level earners, you don't have anybody that's challenging you. You don't have anybody that's coming up to you. Why? Because most don't even know about what you have going on because you can't share it with them. How do I know that? Because every single person that I work with, that's the scenario they're in. You don't want to offload that on your spouse. You don't want to offload that on your business partner. You don't want to offload that on somebody at work or a friend that they can't handle that. And so you sit there and you're like, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna give you as straight as you can get it. Pretty good is not going to cut it. Pretty good isn't where you're created to be. Michael Jordan scores 22 points and he looks at it and he says that's pretty good. He doesn't say it's pretty good. He says I could have done better. I should have been here. I missed this. There's a challenge. There's a sharpening. In Proverbs 27:17 it says iron sharpens iron. That's a challenge for you. And so one of these things that we're going to one of these things that we are going to have to look at is exactly that for you in your life. When have you been challenged? When has somebody like just called you out? And the lack of challenge is the lack of growth. When you go and you get with a trainer, or if you've been into, you've been in collegiate sports or pro athletes, whatever it might be, it's a daily challenge of getting better. Heard a story recently. Michael Phelps, the guy was swimming in the pool most of the day while you were walking around and having lunch and watching TV or whatever. Michael Phelps was in the pool, and Michael Phelps was not trying to get a second better. He was trying to get 100th of a second better. His dedication and his work and all of that was down to hundredths of a second to improve. Now, I wonder for you, what's your improvement? And most don't have an improvement schedule because they don't have a plan of where they want to go and what they want to get. Right? Waking up early, you're supposed to do that. You don't get a medal for that. What is it that you're going to do? What is going to be your focus for the day? What is going to be the focus for the week? What are going to be the tasks that bring you closer to your vision, to the things that God has called you to do? You want to be more generous? Great. What does that look like? How much generous? Let's back into it. How are you going to do it daily, weekly, monthly, yearly to get into that place? Say, I want to be more generous. Otherwise, it's a someday. It'll never happen. Be truthful. It won't happen. We back that stuff. We go right into it. You want more freedom for your family? What does it look like? And we back that into it. I start challenging, individuals, men and women, about exactly that. Let's not talk about it. Let's do it. Why? Because in James it says that if you know the right thing to do and you don't do it, it's sin. And it's also called foolishness. If you know the right thing to do and you don't do it, that's foolishness. So for you and your business and your work and your marriage and with your kids, what are the things that you need to do? I hear clients all the time. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I should be doing more of that. Okay, great. Do it. What are you gonna do about it? You want to do it, do it. Where's the challenge in their life and where's the accountability as well? Which I said that last week, of being able to do what you say you're going to do. That's it. Now here's the thing. I want to pause right here because this has come up several times in the last 7 days for me, and I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to put it out there because it's just a nudge I keep getting. These next 6 to 12 months are going to be revolutionary months for somebody. Your life is going to be transformed. If you make a decision today or in the next week or whatever it might be, the next 6 to 12 months will transform your life. And I tell you why the next 6 to 12 months is so important, because right now the world is in some of the most chaos it's ever been. And you are going to need to prepare now for when that chaos begins to hit even more. You're going to need to have your business in shape. You're going to have your marriage in shape. You're going to have your finances in shape, your children in shape. It's all going to need to happen, and you're going to need to be challenged to do it. When you get a trainer, you go to the gym, if you've ever been, right? And, you got your workouts and, you're doing it and it's like 6 to 8 reps, right? And you got, maybe your trainer with you and, you get to like rep 7 and they're checking you out. And then you get to rep 8 and you're about to let go and they say, hold on, do one more. And so then you do one more and they're like, oh, do one more. And then you're like, I thought you said one more. I said, one more. Do another one. And you do another one. And all of a sudden, your arms are shaking. Let's say you're on the bench. Your arms are shaking. And you're just like, I don't know if I can do more. And then you bring it down, right? And they just give you a spot. I know I used to spot guys a lot of times. Just with one finger. One finger. And I mean, you're maxed out. Maxing out is that you have more in the tank. You just don't have somebody calling you out on it. And so you're going to live in this good life when you have greatness for you and you have it, and I know you have it because when I sit with individuals, I know they have it. They're just not challenged to be able to do the things that they're called to do. Uh, you can't have challenge if you don't have awareness. And what do I mean by that? I said, until somebody calls it out in your life that awakens that thing in you that you say, yeah, I actually am playing small. Playing small is nothing about what God has built you for. There's no small in God. There's no like, oh, I ran out of money, or I ran out of ideas, or I ran out of things that I could do or build. No, there's never. It's creation is continually creating. And so for you to have any limit on that, you're putting yourself small. You're keeping yourself small. And challenge is going to be able to say, no, I can do one more rep. I can do two more reps. I can go till failure. I will. And watch this, because as you and I both know, that when you work out, the resistance is what gives you the growth. The challenge is what gives you the growth. So if you keep doing the same thing over and over, your workouts and all are going to be the same. The same goes with your mindset. The same goes with your actions toward your vision. If you keep doing the same things, you're going to get the same results. And so I sit here with you today to question that and say, you can do more. I know you can. And the reason why you're not is because you don't have somebody that you're accountable to, and you don't have somebody that's actually challenging you, and that's not judging you for you having incredible, you know, goals in your life, dreams in your life, things that God has probably placed in there for you that you're just like, I don't know, I'm pretty good. I got 3 or 4 houses and a boat and a plane. And no, that's not. The stuff isn't the success. The stuff is you fulfilling what God has called you to do. That's the only thing that matters. That's my spot here with you today. I'm sitting with you here today saying, are you doing everything you need to do to get to that place to say, Lord, to hear that, well done, my good and faithful servant? Because I'm saying that to you because I was not. When I was, looked like I was living in one of the most beautiful places on the planet. I had a great job with a great company and a great thing. Everything looked like, oh, he's all good. He's got a great career. He's worked at these Fortune 500 companies and he's doing these things with all these different people and players and whatever. Man, he's good. No, I wasn't good. I was at like 8% of what I could possibly do. But around everybody else, they get you to believe that, oh, I mean, you're awesome. The hand of God is on you. Blah 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 blah. That's a distraction. Welcome to greatness. You want to win? It's gonna be uncomfortable. You want to win? You want to fulfill what God has for you? It's gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna go through some things. You're gonna get challenged. But you're also the rewards are gonna be so much greater. I heard this quote and I love it. Tim Grover, one of my favorites. Feel like he's a mentor of mine, says it like this: you think winning is expensive? You should see the bill for regret. You and I both know the time and the clock is ticking. The beats in your heart from when you started watching this to now is less, and they're gone, and you'll never get that back again. Those heartbeats are gone. Question is, what are you gonna do about it? What do you believe that you can do in your heart and go and be in those places? Do you believe you can do it? You need to get challenged. You need to go and do the things you've never done before. Lastly, pressure is a privilege. Yeah, it's a privilege. Welcome. Welcome. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, privilege, privilege, privilege. They saw it and they said, great, what an opportunity. I prepared for this. I planned for this. I'm going into this new level. It's going to be new pressure. It's going to be new difficulties. It's going to be new resistance. It's going to make me stronger, better, and everything that I was created to do. Welcome to pressure. It's a privilege. I want to put that your way. I want you to hear it, think about it, meditate on it, because you know it's true. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. What I'm telling you are the things that are in your heart and nobody else is saying to you. And you've been avoiding them. You've been playing around with them. You think the ideas, or maybe you haven't heard it since college, or maybe since a coach or an athlete would get on you. But this is what God is raising up men and women around the country to say, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to max this thing out. My income, my impact, my purpose. Why? You want freedom for your family. You want to be more generous. And here's the big one. You want to give glory to God. Success is good for God. Your life leading people back to what God's doing is success to Him, and that's what also drives me. Um, Lastly, I know I said lastly again, but here's the last. I want to challenge you. Here's a challenge for you. whether you can do 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, whichever one you pick. I, I'm challenging you for a negativity mindset challenge. I want you to fast. We sometimes fast food. People are intermittent fasting. To do all the health stuff. Great, that's awesome. You should if that's what you're into. I want you to do something for this. I want this thing, the most valuable real estate that you own. I want you to fast negativity for 3 days, 5 days, or 7 days. That's the challenge. Imagine it. And what does a fast look like? That means when a thought comes in, you have 3 seconds to get it out and to have a thought that's going to be positive, that's going to be abundant, that's going to be an overflow, it's going to be forward focusing, not backward facing. Oh, I missed this, or I didn't do this, or I'm worried about this, or I'm anxious. Nope, nope, out, 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 out. When I work with clients and we do this, their life is transformed just by that, just by doing that. 3 day, 5 day, 7 day, fast, fast, fast. Get it out. Because if you were with me here yesterday, I wandered out into my backyard and I decided to clean my pool filters, which it's fun. I'm telling you, it's a blast. I took the hose. These things were gross. They were gross. They were brown. They were full. And every time when I looked at these filters, I looked at them and I just kept thinking about people's minds. How much trash do you have cycling in that filter in your mind? Just trash, 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 social media, TV, all kinds of news, all this stuff, all these things. You're scared, you're worried, you're fearful, fear of man, fear of failure, and it sticks and it's in there and it's in there. If you saw this filter, it was brown. There was grass. There was dirt. I hadn't cleaned it in like 4 months. It was gross. It was gross. I was like, oh, it's disgusting. Took the hose, just line by line. And as I was doing this, I literally thought about just God's word. What does God's word do in your mind? It just washes. It cleanses. Who are you? Who God created you to be, right? Are you creating the image and the likeness of God? I just sprayed and sprayed. And all of a sudden, it was perfectly white. I mean, talking white, like bleach white. Just hose it down, hose it down. All this stuff is just all this junk, all this disgusting things that were cycling through my pool and the filter. And that's what your mind, it happens many times in your mind. You need to get challenged about it. Don't let it slide. Don't just, put that stuff in there. I don't care if it's music, media, relationships, whatever it is. That is cycling in there. And then you just keep cycling, cycling, cycling. What do? You wash yourself with God's word. My clients know that we have scripture decks that we talk about every single day. Where are you going? What are you speaking? What are you believing about yourself? What are you believing that God says about you? And where are you going? Why? Because it matters. And guess what else? It works. God's word works. You want to know the will of God? God's word is the will of God. Know it, speak it, believe it, and do it. Those of you that are interested in challenge, you're a 6+ figure entrepreneur, you're looking to, max out your income, your impact, and your purpose, you're serious. I'll drop the link below. There's a scheduler. Get into it. Time is ticking. It is urgent. You don't have the time that you think you do. You'd be surprised at how much time you have left. Make a decision, get challenged, and do something about it. I believe that God has great things for you. You know it, and I know it. So go and do the thing you need to do. God bless you.